Good day, everyone.
I was born and raised in Detroit. Growing up there, I saw people like me running things.
This is a courtroom, not a circus, so we're gonna calm down.
I'm sorry.
What I found there was a passion that I didn't know existed.
This is the bottom line.
I'm excited to free fall into the limitless possibilities with we the people. So many are fearful of the law. They think it's something that works against them.
I think you need to begin to accept responsibility for your mistakes.
We are the people.
Tanya Ward claims her car was towed after her so-called BFF hogged their shared parking spot. Kimberly Huff says the plaintiff needs to take accountability for her actions, so she's not paying a dime.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Good day, everyone.
Hey, Judge.
This is the case of Ward versus Huff. Ms. Ward, you are suing Ms. Huff for $3,700, which are fees you paid as a result of a car towing.
I'm here to sue my so-called best friend forever, Ms. Kimberly Huff over here. I believe she owes me. She racked up $3,700 in fines and fees for me, and she had no right to do that. She's staying with me rent-free, and we've just been through this so many times. She needs to accept some responsibility.
Just take me back quickly. Where was she parked?
She was parked in my parking spot. So I
At
had to park on the street, and I was the one that ended up waking up in the morning and my car's towed. So.
All right. So Ms. Huff is still living with you?
Not anymore, but she was at the time.
And your apartment or condo complex had parking spaces?
Yes, assigned parking. I work at night. She works in the daytime. She's a kindergarten teacher. I'm a desk manager in the evening. And we usually switch off with no problem. Communication tends to be fairly open, but
Not
you know,
really.
there are certain, well, excuse me.
Go ahead.
I am.
Well, wait, now it sounds like there's some more issues happening here. So how did it come to be that Ms. Huff started living with you? Why did she need to come live with you?
I rescued her. She was going through a horrible breakup. I offered to let her stay with me, get her stuff together, and just live life. She did not pay me back with any kindness, any gratitude. So now I just want money because she cost me quite a bit of money.
You went through a breakup
Your
and you
Honor.
needed to come stay with Ms. Ward?
Your Honor, all the personal reasons to stay with her, she was supposed to be my best friend. I mean, she's a great person. We went to college together. I remember one incident, she had a midterm and her alarm clock
You sabotaged
was
me.
unplugged
Exactly.
because I did use it. But she usually has, you know, backup like as the iPhone or whatever as an alarm clock, and she like blames everything about me, and she never takes accountability.
Now, when you broke up, you called to ask her to come move in with her, stay with her for a little while?
No, she actually offered me. I was on my downtimes. She offered a space for me to stay at her place. And then she just like, I don't know, changed, like her whole mood changed. She started like arguing with me every day after work. She complains about everything, nags about everything.
I'm the best friend you've ever had, and you know that. I think you need to stop with this.
You're manipulating.
No, I think you need to apologize when it's due and it's warranted, and I think it's been warranted plenty of times. This is the last straw. I love you, but I don't like you.
Well,
You
at the
don't.
end of the day, she can't be too bad because when you needed help,
Right.
you went to stay with her. So how did it happen on this day?
On this
She was parked in the space.
On this particular day, I was coming home. I saw that her car was parked in my spot. I didn't think it was a huge deal. I thought it's probably temporary. She knew I was due to be home about that time. So I get upstairs, I go in, I see she's just passed out on the couch, and I don't have the heart to wake her.
Let me be clear.
Yes.
You came home at a time when normally you would just pull into the space and park because she'd be gone?
Yes.
Or did you come home at a time where she normally parks in the space?
Not where she normally parks in the space. It was she had no reason to be there. So I thought, in this particular instance, because it's so fluid, we never have to argue over a parking space where
So you
one
go
is
up there,
gone.
she's asleep.
She's sleeping.
You don't want to wake her up.
Correct.
But she's in your spot.
Yes.
Well, where's your car?
I parked on the street. I wake up in the morning, go downstairs to where I parked my car. It's gone. So I look up, where do I find my car? I find a little sign and where to
Your
call
Honor,
in.
she's college educated and she can't read signs because clearly it said no
According to-
trespassing.
What is that?
This is the sign that she saw. Clearly, you
How
can
do
read,
you know I saw
right?
it clearly?
Let
Were
me
you
see
awake?
that. Sean,
Were
will you
you
hand me that
sleeping?
evidence, please?
Were you not sleeping?
Thank
or were
you.
you
You need to
pretending?
learn how
were
to
you
read.
pretending?
You're
So
college
hold on,
educated,
Ms.
are you?
Huff, you're
Pretending.
saying that you took a picture of the sign that was outside where Ms. Ward parked her car.
Yes.
And it clearly says no trespassing.
Yeah, and she's trying to blame
Assigned
me for
parking
it.
for tenants only, one vehicle per apartment allowed, and any vehicles parked outside of the designated areas will be
Not
towed.
responsible.
Visitors, I think that's you, Ms. Huff, must park outside on the street.
Your Honor, I
All
fell asleep.
violators
I
will be
fell
towed.
asleep. She's always blaming
It's
stuff
her
on me.
inconsiderate,
See, she
thoughtless
doesn't even make
nature.
sense, Your
you
Honor.
don't even apologize. How am I supposed to help you if you don't tell me anything? I'm
Your
your friend.
communication
You
is
live
horrible.
rent-free for
All
a
right, Ms.
year.
Ward, so what does this have to do with a parking space? I don't know.
Coming up,
You're not really being honest and authentic about what you feel about the other person. Now, I don't know why.
I know that she's been withholding information.
always the
I
last
have a
straw with
witness
her.
here who can attest
Oh
to
my
she's
gosh.
holding something back.
and later,
We tried conceiving, we couldn't have a child, and so our neighbor said, you know, we have a colt here, and if you guys want to take it in, you guys can take it in. So we took it, and we basically raised it as our child.
we're back with BFFs Tanya Ward and Kimberly Huff, who are arguing over the cost of a towed car.
Obviously, both of you have some hidden resentments for one another. You are in a long-standing friendship, but you're not really being honest and authentic about what you feel about the other person. Now, I don't know why you waited to get to We the People to decide that you all want to talk about your relationship, but since we're here, let's indulge.
I know that she's been withholding information.
always the
I
last
have
straw
a
with
witness
her.
here who can attest
Oh
to
my
she's
gosh.
holding something back. She has no
Please
reason.
stand up. Who is your witness? Stand up, sir.
Hello, Your Honor. I am Kevin. I'm a building security. On the particular night you're talking about, I saw Kim and an unknown male that I've never seen before, and I've been at this building for 5 years. And I've never seen this guy. And
Kim is Ms. Huff.
Yes, Miss Huff.
You saw Ms. Huff and a man you didn't recognize.
Unknown man I've never seen before. They were in a heated argument. So as I proceeded to break the argument up, I told the guy he has to leave. And when he left, I see Miss Huff was she was scared. So I told her to go ahead and park in the parking structure because she looked in fear for her life. I didn't want to do my rounds, come back, and the guy is on her, you know what I mean?
Right, so did you direct her to park in Ms. Ward's space, or did you just tell her to park in the structure?
I told her to park in the structure. They're assigned one parking spot for the tenant. So,
and you knew she was staying with Ms. Ward?
Yes.
And then after you parked in the parking space, Ms. Huff, you went upstairs?
Yes. Yeah, it's an ex that I'm dealing with. Unfortunately, he's stalking me, and we were arguing, and I'm sorry for all of this, but that's just kind of how my life is right now.
Does that explain to you then why she pulled in the spot? Because your witness, the witness you brought to court, says he's the one that told her to pull in the spot.
All of this is told to me after the
I'm not sure why he's your witness, but
he was present and he knows that that's my spot. I live there.
and
She
he
had no
told
right
her to
be
park there.
He told her to park in a spot in the building.
He
did
just
not.
testified that
make
he
sense of
told her to
yours.
pull in
A-
your spot. Did you say
I
that?
told her to go ahead and park in the spot for her safety. I didn't necessarily say her spot, but I did say go ahead and park in the garage. So maybe this is on me.
So you owe Ms. Ward $3,700?
No. Your Honor, pockets are empty, Your Honor. I don't have that, but I'm saying
I know I don't.
you probably do. But I'm saying I directed her to go ahead and park in the parking structure for her safety. So maybe you guys.
But this whole night, I'm not informed of this, so I go to sleep thinking she just fell asleep. She's so tired and she's working so hard. She's going to pay me back. I go to bed fully, everything's fine. I find this out later. I'm worried what could have happened to me or her. No one told me anything. I feel like
Well, this
that
is the
shouldn't go
problem.
on.
This is the problem. The inconvenience of them of her being in your spot, I completely understand. But what I don't go do is then pull in an illegal spot and then act like somebody else owes me money. You can't do that. Then when you have the opportunity to come up and say, hey, Kimberly, wake up. You're in my parking spot, and I need to park now. Why aren't you at work? You don't. You say, oh, I just don't have the heart to wake her up because she's sleeping. That's where this story turns into ridiculousness. Because if you really cared about being able to pull in your spot at that time, and you really feared having to pay $3,700, you just wake her up and say, you got to move your car.
Oh, for the record, it's my pattern and practice of parking in my assigned spot. I'm unfamiliar with what the street parking laws are. I was just coming home very weary as she was, probably, and I failed to see that sign. This is a given. This is valid.
Exactly. And that's going to be a lesson to you. You decided, right? You decided unilaterally, I'm going to just pull my car over here and go up and see what's wrong with her. Once you saw she was asleep, you still left your car there. You didn't read the signs. Unfortunately, I realize it doesn't seem right that you do a good deed for a friend only to be inconvenienced and then have to pay money to get your car. But the truth is, she don't owe you any money for it. It has been determined by this court the judgment is for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Told you it wasn't my fault. 3 of you. Love
I
you.
can afford it. Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Coming up,
Why did you stop coming and taking care of the horse and offering this knowledge you have as a vet assistant?
This man here, I know you seemed really composed, but he has serious anger management issues.
network featuring dynamic judges and live legal programming.
Well, we're not at your school, we're in my courtroom.
Unique court shows,
Where is any information about the company?
live legal news,
That's what you should have done.
and a commitment to justice.
Either you tried or you did it.
The next generation of court programming in one dynamic network. Justice Central. You're watching Justice Central. Stay tuned. Cars.tv. Everything cars.
Cars, 1957 410 Super America Ferrari.
Right behind me is a 612 Scaglietti, which is our top of a range 12-cylinder front engine.
This has a twin supercharger system and produces 780 horsepower.
I'm here with my 1995 Ferrari 456 GT. Very fast, from 0 to 60, definitely under 6.
Be sure to watch Cars.tv. Check your local listings. You're watching Justice Central. You're watching We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. George Larson claims his ex-wife needs to pay up after she abandoned the horse they had raised as their child. Tony Ochoa claims she did her best, but Mr. Larson made it impossible to care for the animal.
This is the case of Larson versus Ochoa. Mr. Larson, you are suing Ms. Ochoa for $2,850 for costs you say are associated with the care of a horse.
I was married to Miss Ochoa for about 10 years. We tried conceiving, we couldn't have a child, and so our neighbors said, you know, we have a colt here, and if you guys want to take it in, you guys can take it in. So we took it, and we basically raised it as our child. We named him Jacob, and he was a big part of our lives. And just my father passed away. We lost part of our family farm, and I lost my job, and it was just a tumultuous series of events. And she decided to file for divorce and left me and Jacob. And so I was left to take care of Jacob for all that time. I would feed him. She would be in charge of taking care of him in the evenings. And so she would take care of him for about 2 years, but then she got a boyfriend, and in the last 3 months, she just basically abandoned us.
Did you abandon them, Ms. Ochoa?
Your Honor, we agreed that I would still come, and I did faithfully. And
even after the divorce?
I did.
Coming up.
I'm not jealous. I just want her to,
Were you
meet me halfway.
arguing out at the restaurant or bar where they were?
No, well, I went to the bar and they said, hey, if you're going to be hanging out with him, I don't want you to come to the ranch. I don't want you to come see me. She can come alone.
We're back with a battle between exes George Larson and Tony Ochoa over veterinary bills for their horse.
Sounds like you had an agreement.
It was a verbal agreement until she decided not to come anymore. So she got a boyfriend, and in these last 3 months, you know, Jacob was having health issues. I was the only one taking care of him. I'm not the expert. She's a vet assistant. So I had to call the veterinarian, get him a checkup, and he did x-rays, CAT scans, all these different tests. And I don't have any money. The only money that I make is selling eggs and milk at the local stand.
So if you love the horse so much, Ms. Ochoa, why did you stop coming and taking care of the horse and offering this knowledge you have as a vet assistant?
This man here, you seemed really composed, but he has serious anger management issues. I wanted to come. He would approach me, as well as with my new boyfriend, in public. We were at a bar just recently, and he got in our faces threatening. He flat out.
So the way he acted towards you and your new boyfriend made you feel unsafe.
Absolutely.
And you didn't want to come by and help take care of Jacob anymore.
I wanted to come. You said that basically that I couldn't. I think what this is really about is I think you're maybe a little bit jealous.
I'm not jealous. I just want her to,
Were
meet
you
me
arguing
halfway.
out at the restaurant or bar where they were?
No, well, I went to the bar and I said, hey, if you're going to be hanging out with him, I don't want you to come to the ranch. I don't want you to come see me. She can come alone. I said, you can come alone.
But don't bring someone else.
But don't bring someone else. Come take care of the horse. Jacob, it turns out that he had a ruptured heart vessel, and he passed away.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Do you have any evidence of these issues?
Yeah, I have the medical bill right
Please
here.
present them to the court. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
This was all given to me in the last 3 months. When she stopped picking up the phone, she stopped coming over. So I just need her to meet me halfway.
And so you're not suing her for the entire month?
No, definitely not. Yes.
All right. So when you heard about Jacob, Ms. Ochoa, what did you hear?
I was working a double shift the day that he passed. There was no way to get to my phone.
When was the last time you had seen Jacob?
Probably almost 2 months.
So it had been 2 months. How long, Mr. Larson?
It was 3 months. She just stopped showing up. I basically said, you can come check the horse, and then she chose not to come.
Threatening. The number of times you have called.
I've heard sufficient testimony. This is it. You felt like you didn't want to go over there without your boyfriend because you were fearful. The one problem is that you all had an operating system, that you both took care of this horse. But you stopped taking care of the horse financially. That's not all right. It is clear to this court that you did have a financial obligation to help care for Jacob. I also feel like you had a moral duty to figure out if you didn't want to come there to render the care, then send one of your vet assistant friends or someone else there. It has been determined by this court, judgment for the plaintiff for $2,850. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $2,850.
You left Jacob. I can't believe you did that. Like, we didn't have to come here. You didn't have to do all these different things, and it was just you left home, you left Jacob.
How about leave me alone?
I have.